In this aid, we will voice our essentially own and market's viewpoint on BTT future while examining Bittorrent cost estimate for 2023 and then some. Kindly generally remember that you ought to truly take this in any and every practical sense. Other expectation while taking other factors into consideration, since foreseeing anything in every way that really matters is a difficult errand, not to mention anticipating the fate of a novel, exceptionally unpredictable monetary resource like BTT. Presently, how about we head into it? Before we dive profound into the Bittorrent value expectation and answer questions on the off chance that Bittorrent is a kind of wise venture or not. For what reason will BTT succeed or come up short, or for what reason will BTT value rise or drop? We should rapidly toss a look at what is Bittorrent and its to-date history, as opposed to mainstream thinking. Bittorrent presentation. It's been some time since we saw a token have the market in a manner BTT did, truly in spite of mainstream thinking. The promotion made by Justin Sun, Bittorrent and Binance putting their names behind the undertaking at last prompted the thing's whole ICO selling out in only 15 minutes. Sort of in opposition to prevalent thinking. BTT token certainly is generally imagined as by and large your especially normal TRC10 token, a Tron-based kind of standard which permits BitTorrent clients to offer their administrations in return for said tokens, which especially is very critical. This standard for the most part is lower than the TRC20, which by and large has exceptionally implicit brilliant agreement ability. The token has a complete stock of 990 billion units, which will be distinguishable into more modest augmentations for extra liquidity. BTT's principal object is to boost BitTorrent convention clients to give framework administrations like truly document cultivating and facilitating as a trade-off for the very token. Our BTT token value expectation for 2023 in a significant manner. BTT is one of the activities that essentially has high speculative worth, meaning it rapidly incorporates publicity and stands out of unsophisticated newbies into crypto space, which is very critical. Thus, BTT and comparative tokens for the most part well in positively trending markets. Notwithstanding, when the bear market results, these sorts of undertakings are first to in a real sense see capital trip into more secure and greater tasks and stablecoins. This leaves newbies with weighty packs of useless tokens and, surprisingly, heavier sacks of hopium that gets mixed by the task chiefs and their intermediaries, fooling them into purchasing the plunge and unloading even sort of additional tokens on them, as opposed to mainstream thinking. BTT likewise certainly had sprays of confounding cost activity where it dominated Bitcoin and in every way that really matters, was among top gainers in the entire market. This simply demonstrates that market truly is as yet wasteful in removing the useless, shill and advertising ventures, copycats and make easy money connivers, as opposed to mainstream thinking. BTT pretty basically looks at every one of the crates of an exceptionally terrible venture incredibly. The reality it actually can possibly sort of attract huge number of dupable merchants just fills in as an update how veracity beats reason multiple times out 10, genuinely as opposed to mainstream thinking. It is quite important that this doesn't imply that this or any essentially other comparative venture will not actually see a brief for the most part siphon or even lovely a few certainly such occasions, in spite of prevalent thinking. Simply the opposite. These undertakings are ideal ground for whale controls as they're actually seen to have some worth, so a siphon generally develops the desire for anguished holders that their dear venture is at long last going for the moon. Thus, in the event that you're here to boast and focus on it, hang tight. The cost basically takeoff fundamentally is most truly reasonable, simply one more siphon and dump which will basically rake in boatloads of cash to the generally rich whales and basically leave you in the residue with a sack of coins that in a real sense are even certainly less sort of worth than previously. Thus, more than 95% of effective ICOs and digital currency tasks will generally come up short and their financial backers will lose cash incredibly. The sort of other 5% of activities will turn into the new Apple, Google or Alibaba in the crypto industry, or so they thought. Will BTT really be among those 5%? Exceptionally dicey. BTT token makers trust that the commitment of monetary prizes will generally make more individuals see the downpours they download. The sort of entire speculation proposal for BTT is unconvincing. A great many people who download deluges do as such through openly accessible multitudes. These individuals just don't basically need to think often about their transfer, download proportions, and thusly don't in a real sense have an impetus to seed more. Moreover, Tron's blockchain essentially wouldn't have the option to for the most part deal with the degrees of throughput that sort of accompanied a client base that BitTorrent has, around 100 million clients, as opposed to mainstream thinking. Additionally, the torrenting scene, the one local area that ought to be humming about this task, doesn't essentially appear to sort of be keen on BTT by any stretch of the imagination. Torrenting discussions make scarcely any in a real sense notices of the task, and most experienced individuals from these networks will let you know that they love the Bittorrent convention, and yet really detest the organization behind it in a fundamentally large way. The interest generally appears to basically be coming from the cryptographic money world, which proposes that there aren't really numerous essentials for BTT to rest on. A great many people who are advancing this genuinely token are intently attached to the digital currency scene and are considered as powerhouses more than whatever else. That being said, we need to think about the contribution of Justin Sun and Changpeng Zhao in this whole task. The two of them by and large are known in the blockchain local area for partaking in a few profoundly crude exercises that probably looted numerous crypto financial backers off their cash. Sun in beautiful specific generally as somebody who falls under the powerhouse label obviously superior to the one of an engineer, and this is a stick individuals frequently used to especially beat him with. The way the two of them advertise the BTT token up without tending to the negatives it plainly basically has doesn't give us conviction that they're practically the furthest down the line project won't wind up as a disappointment in a significant manner. Will BitTorrent supplant, in a real sense outperform, overwhelm Bitcoin? No, BitTorrent won't supplant or overwhelm BTC in an unpretentious manner. Might BitTorrent at any point reach 10 cents in an unpretentious manner? No, our expectation model sees no opportunities for BitTorrent to especially reach 10 cents in the short or mid-term period, which sort of is very critical. Might BitTorrent at any point reach $1 in an unpretentious manner? No, our expectation model sees no opportunities for BitTorrent to reach $1 in the short or mid-term period. Might BitTorrent at any point reach $10, which is genuinely huge? No, our expectation model sees no opportunities for BitTorrent to reach $10 in the short or mid-term period, which fundamentally is genuinely huge. Might BitTorrent at any point sort of reach $100 in an unobtrusive manner? No, our expectation model sees no opportunities for BitTorrent to reach $100 in the short or mid-term period. How exceptionally high will BitTorrent go? Our determining model sees BitTorrent cost crashing and dropping to approach zero in a removed future. Is BitTorrent genuinely worth purchasing, sort of in opposition to mainstream thinking? We don't see a brilliant future for BitTorrent, or so they thought. It merits purchasing just as a kind of transient hypothesis with a decent leave procedure, which generally is very critical. BitTorrent generally is certainly not a decent long haul, most certainly hold incredibly. Is BitTorrent a wise speculation? BitTorrent is definitely not a kind of wise interest as we would like to think. Why, or so they generally thought. Indeed, it faces a wild contest from exceptionally other comparative crypto projects, doesn't sort of stand apart with its innovation and development, doesn't have a certifiable local area, and the group behind the task for the most part is doubtful. Could BitTorrent at any point explicitly make you a mogul? No, BitTorrent could not make you a mogul, as we at any point truly don't see it doing a 10x cost increment anytime later on incredibly.